you find yourself lost in Irvingland. It's the middle of the night and everyone but the robot is asleep.
The time is now 2100 hours, and all is well.
My mistake, it's only 9 p.m., but there's nobody else around. So I wonder who he's telling this to.
Warning! 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 It's a comet.
The robot says it's on a collision course with this planet.
We must prepare for catastrophe.
No, for immediate departure, and within an hour.
It would seem they already have an emergency liftoff procedure in place. I assume they haven't used it yet because they're waiting for a good alignment with Alpha Centauri so they can plot a workable course to it, but that came out of my own head, not out of the script. We can expect to see the Jupiter 2 take off and land a lot this season. Unlike the previous ones, they'll be traveling from one place to another, trying to find their way to somewhere they might recognize. It marked a major shift in the way we did our storylines. Now there's another problem. John and Don can't pull the ship out of the comet's gravitational pull. Just when it looks hopeless, this happens. Oh good, got out just in time. Wait, that hasn't happened yet. Your average comet doesn't have anything like the mass to do this, but this particular comet does. They manage a slingshot maneuver over it and they're safe for now. Once they are, Dawn is showing the kids some of the pretties outside.
Oh, it's a supernova. Is it dangerous? Right now it's just exciting. But if it gets too close, it could burn us up.
Relatively speaking, it's not moving. You are. If it starts getting too close, turn the steering wheel.
And as I cast these words adrift into space, I hope and pray that you, whoever you may be, astral traveler or cosmic benefactor, will find them and deliver me from the virtual captivity in which I find myself.
That can sitting next to him with SOS written on it? Yeah, his plan is to put the tape in it and eject the whole thing into space like a message in a bottle. There's just one thing standing in his way.
Depressurize inside hatch, outside hatch. These buttons are so confusing.
There's just one thing standing in his way. Over summer break, he forgot how to work the airlock. He gets the inner door open and puts his message in.
Now the outside hatch. Adieu, little spool. In space you will roam. Dr. Smith is a prisoner a long way from home.
Some of us remember the first episode where he did it all himself, trying to kill everybody and destroy the ship. Some of us also remember our high school physics and the laws of inertia. The short version of that is, without a push, that thing ain't going anywhere. If he wanted it to go out, he shouldn't have depressurized the airlock before he opened the outside door. If he had done it that way, the air rushing out would have taken the canister with it. As it sits right now, he has a nifty little experiment in zero gravity movement.
Warning! Warning! Do not open!
The others come to the rescue and Smith naturally blames a faulty airlock.
Alas, poor robot, I knew him, Judy. My bosom companion, a fellow of the driest wit.
Dad, look!
According to Smith, that's the result of an abnormal airlock.
An abnormal Smith.
I think everybody knows what happened, but that's not important right now. John will suit up and go get the robot.
All right, Johnny's all yours. But make it fast. Getting awfully close to that supernova.
Major, if it's that tiny in your window, it's still light years away. When it gets big enough to fill your entire view, then you might want to worry. Now they're saying the robot is caught in its gravitational pull. If it's a true supernova, I'm not sure how that could happen. A supernova is an exploding star. It produces a shock wave that can pretty well obliterate anything in its path, including a random lost robot. That would happen eons before a gravitational pull would be any kind of issue. I have to keep reminding myself that this is the mid-60s and most people didn't understand a lot of this stuff way back there in the horse and buggy days. The ship starts having trouble because now they're caught in that gravitational pull too. John can't get to the robot and has to come back inside. 1 minute they've got solar flares bursting all around them and the ship is throwing them every which way. Then suddenly, nothing. Total calm.
John, you better check this radar. Seems to be something out there.
Might be matter from that nova.
Maybe it's the robot. He might have been cold in here, too.
Well, there's one way to find out.
Our little robot has grown up. Next thing they know, that thing has pulled them in and they've docked with it. I guess there's nothing to do but go look around.
Give me a gun.
Or maybe they want to come look around your place. The gun won't be necessary.
Your precautions are unnecessary, Professor Robinson.
I believe that's what I said. Now it's time to go look around.
Frost.
They're frozen.
Everywhere they look, it's the same. There seem to be hundreds, maybe thousands of people of various races frozen on this ship.
You have penetrated too far. You are instructed to step on this pedestal.
I don't think so. Not until I find out what else it does besides talk.
You will henceforth be designated as 210703 Alpha Blue Section. All required directives will be instructed into you during the first freezing period.
The first freezing period. How does that work?
Do not attempt to speak. You were given that opportunity before you were sentenced here.
Sentenced? This must be some kind of automated prison ship.
With a few electrodes loose.
You know, I think I'll pass on the first one, and all subsequent ones. I'm not dressed for cold weather. Speaking of clothes, I hope Don has an extra pair of gloves, because those just went to jail. Since we humans are naturally curious, not to say nosy, they'll follow that thing to see what happens next. None of these characters looks like he should be running around loose, and a lot of them have weapons.
Must be some kind of deep freeze regulator.
You don't know what it is, or what it does, or why it's set the way it is. By all means, screw with it. Just be prepared to get into mortal danger, so Robby the Robot has to save you. Hello, Robby. It's been too long since we've seen you. He's apparently the prison guard. He puts that guy back on his pedestal and acts as though John and Dawn aren't even there.
Warden's office.
Except the warden's a computer. This entire ship has been automated from stem to stern.
By freezing the prisoners, no hunger strikes, riots, or escapes to worry about.
They've also frozen their time-lapse chronometer.
Oh, maybe it just stopped working.
We'll learn that that clock is supposed to regulate each prisoner's sentence and unfreeze them when they've served their time. Except the clock isn't moving.
In which case, those poor devils are liable to remain here forever. But from what we've seen of the layout, the propulsion unit should be forward. We ought to be able to get something out of there.
They're looking for spare parts, by the way. All technology is the same across the universe, so there's no doubt in anybody's mind that parts from this thing will fit the Jupiter, too.
Hey.
Just what the doctor ordered for our ailing Jupiter.
All the blinking lights on the Jupiter, too, are just little bitty things. Look at the size of those!
How about that?
How about this? What do you think would happen if we borrowed this?
I'd say there'd be at least 2 backup systems to replace it.
Well, seeing there's no one we can ask, what are we waiting for?
Tools.
John just said the guard robot is probably only programmed to keep track of prisoners, which means even if there are 2 backup systems, there's nobody to put one of them in. unless he means the ship has redundant fail-safe systems, and he said it the other way because the writers couldn't spell redundant.
Redundant. R-E-D-U-N. If you do not wish to know, you may simply inform me.
As usual, Will is getting antsy because they're not back yet. He wants Dr. Smith to take the robot and go look for them. Would you like to see some great expressions?
But I thought...
It's all right. I'll go. Come on, Robot.
Just a moment, William. Perhaps I'd better go with you. Your mother will say I encouraged you if I let you go alone.
Okay.
I can't help wondering if he worked on those faces or if they came naturally to him. Having once been a 13-year-old boy myself, I can believe either one. It won't take the robot long to analyze what this place is.
You are in the presence of alien felons who have been frozen while they serve their time. They are harmless for the moment.
Do you have any idea how long they've been here, Robot?
The period of their sentence is indicated on those pedestal dials. However, it is my computation that there is a faulty circuit in the timing system. The clocks have been stopped for hundreds of years.
So if any of their worlds are like ours, for at least some of them, everybody they ever knew has been gone for over a century. If you thaw them out now, they have to start all over with nothing and nobody who even knows who they are. I'm not sure which would be worse, that or continuing to be in a frozen sleep forever. The robot detects the direction that John went. Let's go find him.
What possible harm could there be in a man who plays cat's cradle? Poor devil. But I'm not much better off than he is, really. Be of good cheer, my frosty friend. There. Your turn.
He really expects the guy to answer. When he doesn't, because he's frozen solid, duh, Smith does the stupidest thing he can think of. Maybe you should have found out how they play cat's cradle on his planet before you did that. He wants Smith's help.
Look at me. Do I look like one who would commit a crime?
No!
Innocent as the day I was born, as gentle as the day is long, harmless, tender, a prince of virtue.
He says it was a case of mistaken identity and he could prove it if he could plead his case before the prison board. But if he steps off the pedestal, Robby will come freeze him again. You know, he's from another planet somewhere off in a star system we've never heard of, but I guess people really are much the same from one side of the universe to the other, because that alien accent sure sounds French. I suspect we can all guess what his solution to his little dilemma is.
You will not stir until I return?
I won't move, I promise you.
Because if you step off this pedestal, it will alert the guard, and he might very well condemn you to frozen sleep.
His name is Fanzig, and I wonder if he has any particular skills that would be useful on the Jupiter 2, since Dr. Smith can't go with him now. We know he plays a mean game of cat's cradle, but besides that, Dr. Smith will set a record. He'll make it almost 10 seconds before he starts shrieking like a toddler and runs away.
What's that?
It is an alarm. A prisoner has escaped.
I sure wish we could find Dr. Smith. I don't know what could have happened to him. Look, it's the prisoner!
No, Will, Dr. Smith is the prisoner now. Never mind. It's not hard to elude him.
What about him?
He is the responsibility of the robot guard. Our primary objective is to find Professor Robinson and Major West.
And Dr. Smith.
Oh, yes. How could I forget him?
I'm sure you can if you try hard enough.
Well, that's meant for us, but the sooner we get out of here, the better.
Yeah, I'll take these, you get the rest.
Okay.
He's the low-budget model of a guard robot. He doesn't check identification or scan DNA or anything like that. There shouldn't be any other beings running around the ship, so if it walks on two legs and doesn't run on batteries, that makes it a prisoner, and back on the pedestal it goes. A better model was available that does retinal scans, but the prison board didn't want to spend that much. Fanzig has caught Dr. Smith and made him get back on the pedestal. To keep him there this time, he turns up the cold.
Wait! We can make a deal! I'm a space traveler! I have a spaceship! We can escape!
Spaceship? You have a spaceship? Here, master?
He doesn't know how to fly it, but he has one. All you have to do is convince Robby to unfreeze the pilot and let you all go. That's all. Speaking of the pilot, he's caught in the same machine some other aliens had when the time tunnel guys encountered them. I guess everybody buys from the Galactic Department Store.
We repeat the question. What is your number?
And I repeat the answer. I don't have a number.
Why do you persist in trying to deceive us? On this vessel, there are prisoners only. No others. Again, what is your number?
For your information, I'm not a prisoner, I'm a space traveler.
Meet the warden of this vessel, a computer that isn't programmed to grasp the idea that outsiders might somehow board the ship for whatever reason.
Can't you understand? Your automated system got fouled up. Your clock stopped years ago. You don't know what you're doing or where you're going.
Contempt! Contempt! Take the prisoner away. His sentence will be doubled. Sentence will be doubled. Sentence will be doubled. 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 Doubled.
I think we just blew a few transistoroids. Now, the alarm has stopped because somebody or something is back on that pedestal, but for some reason this computer can't put that together with there being an unfrozen hominid walking around. Maybe we blew more than a few transistoroids. Elsewhere, Dr. Smith and Fanzig have been arguing over whether they're going to Fanzig's planet Vera or to Earth. It's time for Smith to do what he does best.
I happen to be in a position to grant all of you an official parole. Once we return to Earth.
As I said, it's time for him to do what he does best, lie.
Parole? I should have been due for parole in the year.
That clock won't tell you anything. That's what I tried to communicate to you. That clock is broken. It's been broken for 200 years.
That wasn't a lie, though. It means Fanzig and everyone else on this ship should have been freed ages ago because their sentences were up. But nobody monitors this thing to make sure the systems are working properly, so they've been drifting aimlessly through space on their way to eternity for a lot longer than they were supposed to. Whoever set this up needs to be imprisoned for a while on one of their own ships. I bet they'd make sure that one was monitored. Fanzig grabs a club from one of the frozen guys and starts breaking those freezer controls. Next thing our robot guard knows, he's going to need a bigger gun. John and Will have managed to get Dawn unfrozen and almost in shape to walk.
Warning! Warning!
He's one of us. We are taking over this entire brig.
As usual, Smith wants to play both sides and save his own butt, both from the whims of the prisoners and the wrath of the Robinsons. But John says, rather than destroy the ship, let me fix this clock, repair the system so it works right. No good, they're out for blood. Or gear oil. They want to break something.
But what about those other men in there? There must be thousands of them. This is the only way they'll ever get out alive. Give me 1 minute.
Oh, what is 1 minute after 200 years? It is yours.
That got to him. It could just as easily be him in one of those other areas about to get blown up. In his excitement, I think he forgot that by the robot's calculation, there's over 9,000 men here. John fiddles with the clock, it suddenly comes to life, and what do you know?
Prisoners aboard the prison ship Vera Castle. Your term of imprisonment is now ended. It is the hope of the prison authorities that you will now resume your place as useful citizens of your communities.
As far as the computer knows, everybody on the ship is still frozen. How are they supposed to hear that?
You will report to Bay Z9 for a change of clothing and the funds which will enable you to make a new start.
And now they're genuinely free. They're not escaped prisoners on the run from the law. That was 1 minute well spent. Fanzig is grateful, as are all the men following him. The ship is headed home, all is well, so it's time for some comedy. We know who to turn to for that.
No! He's going to freeze me! What is he doing?
His sensors indicate that there is only one unrehabilitated criminal type left, and that is you.
Those are some really good sensors. Got any extras we could install in our robot?
Explain to him. Make him let me go. What is he saying?
He said you will be back. They all come back.
He's probably right. If not Vera, some other planet, because Dr. Smith can't help being a bad person. Like all bad persons, his badness stems from basic selfishness. He wants to get back to Earth, so everything must serve that end no matter what the other 6 people want or need. He put himself in this position while committing a criminal act, but he's a prisoner, don't you know? He was never on this journey of his own free will. And technically, that's true. He just doesn't tell the rest of it.
The alien propulsion unit seems to be working just fine. Any chance of a star fix?
Not likely till we regain our original flight path.
You can't regain a star fix until you get back to your original flight path, but if I understand interstellar navigation correctly, you can't find that flight path without a star fix. That does present a conundrum. It's always fun to see Robby the Robot. This was his 3rd and final appearance on Lost in Space, but he wasn't even remotely done. As far as I know, he's still around, though various people have been inside operating him. He's made guest appearances on TV, done in-person promotions for causes and such, and generally continues to be a science fiction icon, as well he should be. I'll see you next time you find yourself lost in Irvingland.
If you enjoyed this episode, click the like button and let us know. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell so you always know what is happening, because something is always happening here at Irving Zoo. We make sure of it. We control his computer. Until next time.
If you do not wish to know,
Well,